I want to, I want to take you through some of the stuff that happened up in Minnesota before I get to this video of Alex Pretti and him being shot. So let me, first of all, I played this earlier. Let me just play just a little bit. This is a woman who was somehow or another on an ICE database on the left. And to show you how well coordinated this is, there's this database, and this woman and her husband, she's a journalist. She was being followed by these ICE protesters because she was on a database and they thought she was ICE. And every time she would stop someplace, they would start to gather around and go, "You're ICE, you're ICE, get out, how shame on you," all this stuff. Well, she eventually pulls over and she's like, "We're not ICE, okay? We're not ICE. We have nothing to do with ICE." I just want to play a little bit of this because I want to show you how dangerous this situation is becoming. Cut 3. So she's pulled over and she is now being honked at by one of the cars.
We aren't ICE.
And they're
we are not
flipping her off,
ICE.
etc.
We're not ICE. We're not ICE.
I'm showing my face.
So she's coming out.
We're not ICE. They've been
And
following
she's
us
like,
for
"We're not
over
ICE.
an hour.
We're not."
We're not ICE.
Now the whistles start, and if you're watching the video, you will see all of
We're
these
just letting
people
them know
start
and
just
that-
to
and they-
descend around her car.
Right.
And nothing, look at nothing she says, she's being reasonable.
We're
Nothing
nice.
she
We're
says is
American
going to
citizens.
satisfy this
We're
mob.
not ICE.
Get out. Why are you filming us? Please go.
Because they've been following us for over an hour.
I didn't even know they were following us until they came up and said we've been
Okay.
following you. What are you here?
Well, they're following you because you're ICE. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Okay, stop. So what else happened this weekend? Well, I showed you earlier a video of a self-proclaimed Antifa member saying, "Get your guns. You got to stop these people. Now is the time for violence." And you have an ICE agent who had his finger bit off. We have that full screen. You put that up. Here's the ICE agent, and protesters grabbed him and bit his finger off. I mean, that's, I don't know, that's a little insane. Then you have this. Let me play the ICE agent who's bloodied in front of a hotel because they thought there were ICE agents in the hotel. Turns out there were no ICE agents in the hotel. But you can see one of the, there they are, this hotel. And then you're seeing that the one ICE agent with a bloody nose, blood all over his mask, down his shirt and onto his hands. Don't know how he got bloodied, but I'm guessing it wasn't that he fell and, had a boo-boo. So you have all of this stuff happening. And we now know this weekend, it's been confirmed, it is being coordinated on Signal. Very, very dangerous. Now let me take it from the other side. Alex Pretti is this guy who shows up. He's part of the protests, and he's got the whistle, and he's obnoxious and everything else. And he is starting to go after ICE agents and really get into their face. They push him back. He pushes back. They push him harder. And it just gets into, honestly, it's like a little 7th grade pushing match at first. It's just so stupid that any of this happened. Well, he gets shot. Play cut 9 here. This is the ICE shooting video from Alex Pretti. And there's his whistle, and oh, that's so great. Okay, now you're going to see him.
Go.
All these people, all they're doing is just trying to, stop ICE from doing their job.
What's wrong with you?
And the ICE agent pulls out a gun and shoots Alex as he's laying down on the ground. Here he comes. They're pushing him. They grab him. They put him down on the ground, and there's a bunch of them.
What's wrong with you? Honestly.
Now listen, because you'll hear one of the cops say, "Gun, gun, gun." Then you hear the shots, okay? And they shoot him. Okay. let me take this from the BBC perspective, because they show the other side of this crowd from a different perspective. And I think this is important. Here's the BBC's perspective on what happened. Go ahead and roll that.
Rose Atkins' report contains footage which, again, you may find distressing.
The first video we have of Alex Pretti, he's in the road, holding a phone and talking with a federal agent. The officer pushes him, and he steps backwards. Kristi Noem is US Homeland Security Secretary. This is her account of why Alex Pretti died.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently.
But in this video, as in others, Alex Pretti had nothing in one hand, a phone in the other. We see two people interacting with an agent. We then see an agent push one of those people, then push the second person. Alex Pretti steps between them and the agent and is pepper sprayed. He's wrestled to the ground by a number of agents. He's on his knees, bent over. His hands are on the floor, and he's struggling against being held down. One agent repeatedly strikes in the direction of his head. And take note of this agent. He has nothing in his right hand, reaches down, and removes what appears to be a gun from Alex Pretti's waistband. Then he steps back, holding the pistol, which appears to match this image shared by the authorities. Carrying this type of gun is legal in Minnesota with a valid permit. The police say they believe Alex Pretti had one. Less than a second after the gun is removed, an agent fires the first shot. As Alex Pretti lies motionless, further shots are fired while agents are standing clear.
So this is compelling video, because what this BBC reporter is saying is true. It's absolutely true. He is getting in between him, the police, and somebody else the police are shoving. He is only holding a phone. He is down on the ground. He is resisting arrest, but his hands are down on the ground. His head is down on the ground. Then another agent reaches over on top of the other agents who are closest to him on the ground, reaches into his back where he sees an exposed gun, pulls the gun out, and then walks away with the gun. So he's no longer armed unless he has two guns, and they don't claim that he had two guns, only one. And pulls it out and walks away. Right after that, somebody yells, "Gun, gun, gun, gun." That's when the police officer fires at him. Now, the other police officer did not know that somebody reached in and took his gun. It might have been somebody who was saying gun, might have been saying it because they saw the other guy, because he's not marked as a federal agent, the other guy pull the gun out and walking there with a gun. So somebody might have seen him with a gun and said, "Gun, gun, gun." All the cops think that it's Pretti, and they shoot him. Okay. This is not something that you deal with as, an 8-year-old. This is a conversation for adults to have, and I'm not hearing the adults. First of all, what Noem said is not true. He didn't approach. If you want to say technically he approached carrying a 9mm, he did, but it was holstered and in his back. And you have a right to carry a gun at a protest. I don't think that makes you smart, but it is perfectly legal and constitutionally protected. So I'm sorry, just because you have a gun in your back, if you reach for the gun, if you pull for the gun, then you could probably be expected to be shot if you are pushing the police around. But if you have a gun and you don't have your hands on it, you should not be shot. You have a right to carry that gun peacefully. Okay? The minute you start pointing it at people, you're in trouble. He did not. He did not. So this idea that, he was foolish for walking into, this protest with a gun. Well, you have a right to carry it. And quite honestly, if I'm walking into places like that and I'm not going to get involved, I probably do carry my gun. If I'm going to get involved, I think of the consequences and think, boy, that's probably going to get me killed. Unless I'm planning on killing somebody, assuming I'm going to get involved. There's the way I would think would be, I'm not carrying my gun because that could get me killed. Okay? Because I'm not going to, when I'm in a dangerous situation, it's not going to be with the other Antifa people. in a dangerous situation because of the police, and I make my decision right then and there. Am I willing to pull the gun on the police? No, I'm not. So leave the gun at home. But he has a right to do it. And he has a right to carry it and even be in a confrontation with the police as long as he never reaches for it. But this is where I go to the cop side. You're in a chaotic situation. This is why I would not carry a gun in a situation like this, because you're in a chaotic situation. Nobody really knows what's going on. You have a group of people who have been all day been told, we're going to kill you, your life means nothing, get out of our city, whatever, and they're violent towards you. When you are coming at them and they are pushing you down to the ground, get down on the ground. Get down on the ground. Stop resisting. See, this is not Martin Luther King. That's what the left has forgotten. They're trying to make this as moral as Martin Luther King, but they can't do it because it's not as moral as Martin Luther King, and it's none of the tactics of King. King knew the only way to win is to go peaceful, nonviolent, always. King would have let that guy rot in prison and wouldn't have marched for that guy because he had a gun. Because he made the rest of the movement look dangerous. Even though he had a right to have a gun, Martin Luther King would have said, you don't bring a gun. You don't push back. You don't do it. Because that's the way peaceful protests win. And everybody who knows anything about protesting knows this. The left, they've been preaching Martin Luther King forever. They know this. This is not the tactic of Martin Luther King. This is the tactic that escalates, not de-escalates things. So, where do I stand on the gun thing? I don't know I don't know anything about him, so I don't know what his intention was. I can look at the video and say his intention was to protest, was to be obnoxious, was to be one of those people that were right up there, but not necessarily up in the face of the cops until he sees cops starting to push people around. And then he decides, I'm going to get between them and whoever it was they were pushing. He doesn't like that, so he gets involved. The minute he gets involved, the roles change. He is now somebody that cops in this situation could and should look at as a danger to themselves. So he made that choice. I don't know if that was a choice that he made when he got up in the morning. I don't know what his intentions were. But once he made that choice, he's going to end up on the ground. Because it's such a chaotic situation, I have to side with both him for carrying a gun and being there, and seemingly, from only footage that I've seen, seemingly not being a real violent guy, but being a dirtbag. But you have a right to be a dirtbag. Being a dirtbag, but not a violent guy, I side with him. But I also side with the cop that shot him because it's a chaotic situation. Somebody pulls his gun, a cop pulls his gun, somebody else then yells, gun, gun, gun. What do you expect the cops to do? You've created this situation. That's why this didn't happen with Martin Luther King protests, because they didn't create this situation. Unfortunately, I think more of this is going to happen. But we have to be very careful with our words and speak the truth at all times, even if it hurts our side. That guy, I don't think he should have been shot. But I also don't think they should prosecute these guys because it's a chaotic situation. What would you do in that situation? It's just a really nasty, bad situation. And more of those are going to happen if this doesn't stop. It requires leadership.